Good morning and welcome. Today, Built World presents Larry Kaufman. Larry is the Area Vice President of Arthur J. Gallagher Company and an 8-year veteran and speaker with LinkedIn. Larry will be speaking quite a bit about himself and about his experience, so I won't bore you too much, and I'll just hand the microphone over to Larry. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Walker, and thank you, Built Worlds. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. So I'm going to kick us off with a PowerPoint presentation, move into a full demo. So talk about the agenda for today. Would like to set some expectations. As Walker said, I'm going to talk a great deal about myself. I'm also going to talk briefly about my company where I work, but really doing a lot of LinkedIn hands-on demonstration and Q&A that we're going to wrap up at the end. So there's a chat box that you'll see, and so towards the end we'll address some of those questions. So expectations. I want to help you link up with those that you know that you didn't know that you knew. So what does that really mean? Well, it means there's a lot of people on LinkedIn that are very good for your construction contractor business, architecture, engineering business. We're going to have probably some basic novice users and some advanced users. So I want to help you get to the advanced level, and I'll cover all aspects of LinkedIn to get you there. Everyone has a personal brand. I want to help you highlight that brand in your particular area of expertise for your business and what you do at your company. So whether you're in project management or other particular roles in your construction, engineering, architecture business, or other companies that are part of Built Worlds that support the industry in technology and software. And then just really expand your brand presence for your company through your LinkedIn profile and your corporate profile. And a lot of you attend trade shows, nationally, internationally, and talk about how you actually have a more effective trade show using LinkedIn. And a lot of you want to grow your businesses, so I want to help you secure meetings with decision makers in your industry. So those may be people at a corporation that are more in a director of real estate, director of facilities management role, or maybe it's in the government sector. That could be more procurement, and we'll talk about that. And we all have different types of referral sources, so getting to those referral sources through LinkedIn. I'm a big believer in not waiting for referrals. If you've done a great project for a company, you want to have those referrals come to you on a proactive versus reactive basis. So we'll talk about how you could do that very professionally. I network a lot, and so a lot of you probably network in different types of groups or associations at the trade shows, but also some one-on-one. So we'll talk about how we can maximize the effectiveness of those networking types of sessions that you have. And then also on LinkedIn, there are groups related to construction, engineering, etc. We'll talk about that. And I'm your SME, so SME is a subject matter expert. I'll give you my information within the presentation. You can reach out to me for questions that you may have. So as Walker said, I am going to talk a little bit about myself, or a lot about myself. I'm an AVP with Arthur J. Gallagher. So I've been doing sales leadership types of roles across industries for 27 years. I know I don't look that old, but I am. I started out using LinkedIn in executive recruitment and using it for various ways to open up doors and network better, more efficiently, and using LinkedIn overall 12 years as a business tool. So really started up as a member since 2004 and started paying for a membership in 2005, and I'll talk about that a little bit throughout the session. So I've been speaking nationally about LinkedIn for 8 years. And I have presented to the construction, engineering, all types of industries tied to contractors, etc. And then outside of the industry, speaking to CEOs and other organizations, and corporations bring me in to train their sales forces. So here's probably about a few hours about Arthur J. Gallagher, or about a minute. I think you'd prefer the minute. So we were founded in 1927. And no, I was not there at the founding. And we are the 4th largest insurance broker in the world and the 3rd largest captive in the world. And here in Illinois, where I reside, we're the largest broker here, but we have 25,000 people around the globe. We just made the Fortune 500, just over $5 billion publicly held company. A lot of offices throughout the world. We do have a very large construction, contractor-focused practice and a commercial surety practice. These are all the great things that we do about managing risk within a company, and all the great things that we do serving 1,500 clients in the construction-related industry throughout the world. That's it. A couple of awards. We see a lot of awards. We're very ethical, and yes, the J.D. Power, you hear about all the car dealerships getting those, but yes, we got that as well. Enough marketing about Gallagher, let's talk about LinkedIn. So I think universally, globally, Batman is something that everyone recognizes. So maybe this will resonate with a lot of people, especially if you're more of a novice user on LinkedIn. On Vengeance on the Night, I'm really getting sick of your LinkedIn invites. So probably recently, years ago, you were invited to join LinkedIn. You put together your profile, your picture, where you work, where you worked in your school, etc. And then you invited some people to join your network, and conversely, the same happened. And now you have this profile up there. It may be like your Facebook or your Twitter. It's just sitting there with a network of people and your picture and everything else, but it's doing nothing for you or for others. And I'm going to change that today. So I'd encourage you to invite me to join your network. So capture this email address, Kaufman_34@hotmail.com. Roughly today I'm sitting at about just under 30,000 connections globally. What does that mean to you? I'm going to tell you what that means to you, but I'm going to grow your network overnight. So I think, again, globally, doesn't matter where you are, I think we all have heard about the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation game. The whole idea about LinkedIn, as I talk about today, if you look in the upper right of this profile, for Kevin Bacon, the actor, the musician, is second. So the second degree is the power of LinkedIn. A lot of people think when you connect with Larry Kaufman, it's being connected to Larry is great, yes, but it's the access to my 30,000. So I'm the first degree, the 30,000 is the second degree, the connections of those 30,000 is the third degree. So if you're trying to get into a corporation anywhere in the world and they're a third degree, that's more like a cold call into a company. So if you build the right first degree network of project managers and property managers and directors of construction, directors of real estate, people in procurement roles in government and other companies, you have the right network at that first level. It's who they're connected to, and usually they're connected to like people. So someone who's a CEO of a construction company may be connected to other CEOs of construction companies. CFOs are connected to CFOs. Directors of real estate, the same thing. So pay attention, think about the second degree. That's the power of what I'm talking about today. To know a little bit more about LinkedIn, the backdrop and history, founded in 2002, launched in 2003, and maybe you read the news that Microsoft acquired LinkedIn for $26 billion. No, I didn't have any stock. I wish I did. So there's going to be some changes along the way. I feel they're going to be very good changes looking at Microsoft and their financial capabilities to really take LinkedIn to the next level. Over 400 million LinkedIn members. Most today do not pay for a membership. The good news is today I'm going to save every company money today and everyone on the web today. We're going to talk about using LinkedIn for free. Everything I show you will be for free. I will show you with my paid membership, but everything I actually show you is for free. I will talk about some of the paid benefits to using LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn is a global tool. I would say today roughly probably over 50% are outside the US and the rest of the membership is inside the US. It is across every industry, and if you have any college kids, get them on LinkedIn. I think that's a good time to start getting on LinkedIn to network, build a profile, and this is going to CEO board level. And then a lot of people belong to a group. So I'm trying to make this easy to understand LinkedIn. So this PowerPoint design is to bring it to basics. So if you look at this object on the screen, anyone who is in the millennial era may look at that object and think that that's a spaceship, but to be honest with you, it's not. This is a Rolodex. And so Some of the more mature folks in the construction-related industries may have a functioning Rolodex. Let's talk about what I mean by Rolodex. So think about the olden days. If maybe some of you know the name Stan Pepper, who I know at Pepper Construction. So if Stan and I were to network before LinkedIn, we got together, we had a little lunch, had a great meeting, and I said to Stan, this was great to see you. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send a messenger over to your place of business, pick up your Rolodex. And I'm going to look at that whenever I want to, and I'll tell you who I want to know. And Stan would think that I'm out of my mind. Why would you ask that, Larry? I'm not giving you my coveted Rolodex. So fast forward to LinkedIn. Now I'm connected with Stan on LinkedIn, and I look at Stan's network at night while I'm watching, a show that my wife has had me watch that I don't want to watch. So I'm on my laptop and I'm looking at Stan's Rolodex. That's what LinkedIn is. He built a Rolodex, so all the people he's connected to. He's connected to me, we're first degree. All the people that he's connected to are second degree to me. He's my pathway to people I may want to know that Stan knows. And I could do that 24/7, 365. Now, I'm a big believer in being a connector. No matter what I've done, where I go, what I do, I like to be a connector. I've helped out CEOs for their children getting into a company for an internship or a job, other people in transition, people wanting funding, help with a charity. We should all try to be connectors, trusted advisors, business partners to our clients, friends, even family, and LinkedIn can be that pathway. So a lot of times you've probably been asked, can you help me get into, we'll pick a global company I'll talk about today, like an Abbott Laboratories. I want to get into Abbott Laboratories for my son or daughter for a pharmaceutical rep job. Can you help out? Most of the times we would say, look, I'm over here in the UK, I don't know anyone to help you, I'm sorry. But when you look on LinkedIn, you'll realize it's not your first level that works at Abbott, it's who they know. So give that some thought and consideration that you can be a good connector and business partner and advisor to your clients, friends, etc. So I want to talk about typical one-to-one networking. We all do it. Some of us do it more than others. Some of us do it once a week, once a month. But when we get together, I feel that it's not a very effective one-to-one networking session. So we get together, we talk about family, personal updates. We share things about our business, what's happening in our engineering business. We talk about the ideal customer targets. We talk about some wins that we've had and who we'd like to target by title, people, etc. And then we wrap up that networking meeting, lunch, breakfast, whatever it was, and we wrap up and we say, I'll think about prospective clients for your construction company. And what really happens? Not much, because when I leave that meeting, I get a call from my wife, it's about the kids, and I forget everything. And so nothing really happens. And so I want to talk about how do we improve that networking process. I call this the LinkedIn 5 to 10 advanced meeting. So if I were to say to Jed Levenstein at Built Worlds that last time we were networking, it was an okay meeting, but my wife called me, and to be honest, I forgot all about you. And so I want to make it up and have a better meeting. Can we get together again? Can you look at my 30,000 and pick out 5 to 10 people you'd like to know? That should take you about a year. And I'll look at your network and I'll pick out 5 to 10. That'd be great. But actually what I'll do is I'll show Jed a streamlined way to look at my network in 30 seconds to pick out people he wants to know. The purpose of this is rather than getting connected to people we don't want to know, pick out the people you want to know within LinkedIn. So we get together and Jed has a list of 10 people he'd like to know, and I have a list of 10 people. And we do our family, personal, business updates, and we talk through our list. So if Jed had 10 people and I can get him to 2 people, that's a huge win, because these are people specifically he wanted to meet by name, by company. And vice versa, we do the same thing and we have our people we want to meet. Here's where this process fails. Maybe think about your business, whatever you do, and maybe you've had someone give you a call, it's a client, said, you've done such a great job in this big project. I have a friend in the industry that has a big project, and I mentioned you, and I'm going to introduce you. And then this introduction never takes place. You reach back out to that client, hey, I know you're going to make that introduction. It's been a week now. Yeah, I'll get to it. What if when that introduction opportunity surfaced, you said, you know what, I will send you an introduction for myself, and you could copy me and that individual in an email. So this is about creating your own introduction. My philosophy is I don't want to give creative control to have anyone introduce me. I'm in an insurance brokerage. I'm not really an insurance guy per se. I am a liaison to experts in surety and construction. I pull together a team. But there's more to me than that. I don't want to give someone creative control to say, meet Larry, great networker, and he sells insurance. No one's going to want to meet with me. So I pull together my own introduction that when someone says, I've got a referral for you, tell you what, I'm going to send you my introduction. All you got to do, cut, paste, email me and the other individual, we're good to go. And those introductions take place right away. When I do my 5 to 10 meeting with Jed from Built Worlds, I'm giving him my introduction. And so those introductions are easy for him to send. And the way I've structured this, it's like Jed has written this for me, but I really wrote it for him to send on. And I like taking control at the back end. So if you look at the last sentence, expect to hear from Larry to coordinate next steps. So I'm going to reach back out and coordinate those next steps. So I encourage you, as a takeaway from today, create your own introduction, because you have a unique construction business, engineering, architecture business, technology company for the industries. Do you want to give other people creative control? No. You write that introduction. Big believer, I talked to a lot of people about this, that I believe a warmer referral is much better, leads to a sale 2 to 4x. Probably is more like 5, 6, 7, 8x. So I'm a cold caller. I've always been a cold caller in the beginning. When I got to understand LinkedIn, I stopped cold calling. So I'm not going to talk about all these, but I want you to know that in my world, even though I don't sell construction-related solutions, I do reach out to the construction industry for what we do. But basically, I can find a way into almost any type of company, industry, or person. And these are real-life wins. So what I outlined here, because a lot of us network with different types of people, if you look at each win here, so you got a manufacturer, a law firm, a health club chain may be great, right, for new build-outs. Well, if you want to get to a health club chain, well, I found a way into a $50 million health club chain, but it was an advisor to family offices. If you look at the $78 billion retailer, it's a very big retailer, may start with the word home. And so I leveraged an HR executive in transition, used to work there, and identified within LinkedIn who I wanted to know. So think about this application wherever you want to go, whoever you want to get to. It's not always from the people you think are in the industry. It could be from other people. Financial advisor, well, financial advisors, the last one on this page is a big retailer here in Illinois. And it's a financial advisor that actually used to work at that company in a senior capacity. So I'm not going to go through all these, but really the one thing I want to talk about, this second bullet, this healthcare company, there's a gentleman I've networked with for years. And he actually knew that I liked CFOs. I always like CFOs. They sign the checks. They have the budget. So I was interested in CFOs, and this gentleman knew that. And nothing ever happened, but I made a lot of introductions for him. I liked him a lot, respected him. One night, I was going through his Rolodex, right, at nighttime, looking on my laptop, and I noticed in his network, he had a CFO, probably about 40 years younger than him, that was in the healthcare industry at this big company, same last name as the gentleman I've been networking with. So I figured it was his son, but maybe he doesn't like his son anymore. I didn't know. So what I did is I reached out the next day. I asked him, how do you know this individual? You guys have the same last name? He said, it's my son. I said, how come you haven't introduced me to your son? Do you still love him? And he said, yes, I do. Well, turns out that the reason he didn't introduce me is because I've never asked him to be introduced. LinkedIn allows you to be less ambiguous and more specific. You can go in and look up who you want to know in a municipality, in a governmental entity, in a large corporation. You can look by title, by name, and the company. LinkedIn lets you blueprint who you want to know and ask, and then you can see the pathway how to get to those people. Here's the last slide of the PowerPoint. So this is my recommendation. Today is a lot of recommendations, but being an open networker, being a selective networker, what do? There's no checkbox. So I would say you want to be more selective. You're in an engineering business, you're in a major construction company. What you want to do is be more specific and connect with people who could be referral sources that are in that industry spectrum. They could be at a software company, sell software to specific companies that you target in pharma or biotech. So think about the network you build and who you want to know, what titles. So be very specific, selective. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the demo. It's a lot of data. We've got to convert into usable information. So I'm going to flip over to the demo now. And again, save your questions for in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. So let's talk about the website. When you log in, it's your email address and it's your password. This is the home page of LinkedIn, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some key points on the home page, and then I'm going to drill down into settings after that. So this is your home page on LinkedIn. What do we look at on the home page? So sharing an update. I mentioned that one thing we want to do is kind of market, build our brand. There's some interesting things you could do in sharing an update. So what is sharing an update? It's a limited character count, but what you could do here in sharing an update is talk about if you're able to publicize a project you just completed, you could put that here. If you look off to the upper right of this box, this is an upload photo. It actually goes to your document folder, so you can actually upload a PDF if you have something you're marketing about a recent project you completed. Maybe you're doing something new in the industry. Maybe it's something new with technology. You can share a quick update, and that update is visible. It's visible to the public, just your connections, or if you're a Twitter person, you could set up your account to tie in Twitter. That's one thing you could do. I would also say when you share an update, one thing that you can do is come up here, and you want to click down to posts. So there's a lot of people, if we look at posts and we look at, if I just type in anything like the word construction, I'm searching posts, and I'm going to get to when people write an article, it's a post, and it's searchable by everybody. So you could type in anything. When you're checked over here to posts, you can type in anything, and then when you look down, sometimes you don't have your own content to share, and this is how you draw people to you as a thought leader, an expert in engineering, architecture, in your construction business. So when you look over here, you could click share. You could share any one of these posts that were written by somebody else that may be in the industry, maybe they're just someone outside the industry that writes about the industry. This is just a great way to keep drawing people to you, that you have thoughtful content. Don't overdo it, but this is a great way to share content. Now, in some of your companies, you may be a thought leader. You may be a prolific writer, so you can come in and write an article. So this is like a blog, and so you can come in and write your own little article, put in an image that's approved, check with your marketing folks, write your own headline. It could be any type of article related to your industry, and that's searchable under posts like I had showed you. So those are great things to be doing within LinkedIn. The other thing on the home page would be ways to keep in touch, and we've seen this. So your network, so it looks like Steve and John has a new job. You know, maybe someone has a work anniversary. So a lot of different things happening with your network, and you may be like, well, you know, I haven't been in touch with Steve and John for, you know, a couple of years. It's a great way to reconnect. So maybe come in and click message and delete this message and put in something, you know, maybe customized. So delete it and then customize the message. So that would be something I would consider doing. Watch the updates with your network. It's a great way to reconnect with your network. On the home page, look what people are liking. Now, I have 30,000 in my network, so a lot happening with my network, but you may see things happening with your network that you want to follow, you want to share. So watch what's happening on your home page. Now I'm going to roll into settings. So you go to the upper right of your home page to where your picture, or if you have no picture, it'd be like an empty box. You're going to go to privacy and settings. So this is where I said, here's my number of contacts. So if you're wondering how many contacts you have, that's where it's at. You have account, you have privacy and communications. I'm not going through all these settings. I'm going to tell you to come back and go through them on your own. But here's some things to consider. Email addresses. I encourage everyone to have at least 2 email addresses. So one would be your business email address, which I don't put mine as primary because I have too much flow of email and other information coming through. So my private email address is primary. My business email address is secondary. Only invitations to connect go through my Arthur J. Gallagher address. So it's up to you how you want to structure it. I encourage you to have 2. Some people attach a phone number as well because something happens, you change jobs, there's M&A activity, you may lose your email address. And if you do, and that was the only address attached was your business email, you lose access to your account. So have 2 and or 1 and a phone number that you've attached. Name, location, industry. Some of you are in very niche contractor, construction related industries. And maybe in Chicago or somewhere in Asia, you may be one of the only ones that is working in that area of construction. I put my name in all caps. Now, some people say all caps is like shouting, which it is. Some people say all caps is because I have a big ego, which I do. But honestly, I put all caps because your LinkedIn profile is searchable like a website on Google. And so if 10 people come up where maybe I build bridges in my company and there's only 10 people in the world, 10 companies in the world that do that, in Chicago, I'm going to come up, or in that full search, I'm going to come up in all caps and maybe no one else is. So it's a recommendation, suggestion, not something you have to do. What are some other settings that we look at? So I would come to privacy as the next. Again, you should go through this on your own. Edit your public profile. Your profile is on the internet. Now you can hide it so it won't be public, but it's searchable. And so the default is searchable and you can control what elements of your profile are searchable. I encourage you to do that. Who can see your connections? A lot of people talk to me about, look, I'm a CEO. I don't want everyone seeing my network of 500 CEOs. That's fine. The default is your connections. If you want to hide it, put it as only you. It's up to you. I view this as a networking site, so I like to keep my network open, but some people get concerned, so you can close it up. But if I was in network with Jed and he closed it up, but Jed respects me, I could ask Jed, could you open up your network? I'd like to take a look at some of the people you know. Can you open it up from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight? So I have that option to ask him to do that, and if you know someone well enough, they'll do that. So those are some of the things I would look at. Profile viewing options. Did you know that people view your profile and you could see who's viewing your profile? So that's kind of an interesting feature. So if we come up here to who's viewed your profile, we could see who's looking at my profile. Maybe right now as we're doing the live stream. So I can see people checking me out on my profile. Now if you notice, my setting was I'm completely anonymous. No one knows I'm looking at their profile. With a free membership, the default is your headline, name, everything shows. You get to see about 5 people that viewed you. Paid membership, I see historical views of people looking at me. Why is that important? This may cause you to want to pay for a membership by having this historical view. Why is it important? Maybe someone is looking at you because of that expertise in building bridges. There's not many companies out there, and you saw someone in a particular company, industry, maybe an architect, someone was looking at your profile. You may want to reach out to them, and maybe it was Mark, and I may reach out to Mark. I may ask him to connect with me, but I may just send him a note and say, Mark, I saw you checking out my profile. I see you're looking for someone that builds bridges or you deal with companies like that. Love to chat with you. So it's just a great way to reconnect with people. Sometimes I see someone look at my profile. I go, oh, Brian was checking out my profile. I'm going to reach back out to him and say, Brian, it's been a couple of years. Notice looking at my profile today, I thought we should get together. So there is value to using the Who's Viewed My Profile. So I'm going to come back to settings and wrap up settings, but these are really powerful things to look at. So let's go now to communications. So communications, email frequency. A lot of people say they don't like LinkedIn because of all this communication flow coming through. If you click on email frequency, you can control what's coming in, what's going out. You can control invitations. You can control messages, notifications that come through, network updates. Some people don't want to see that. So you can look at a lot of different things, messages that come through, group updates. A lot of us join groups, and maybe you joined your college alumni, post-grad alumni, and you're getting all these updates. You can click on details and control what you get from these groups. If you want messages or no messages, updates, no updates. I encourage you, come into all these settings and look around. I'm not going to do anything else in settings today, but I felt that you should definitely take a look on your own and adjust settings. So I'm going to clear out, come back to home, and we're now going to go to profile. So I'm going to go to edit profile mode. So this is going to be an important section. This is really how you personally brand yourself, your expertise. You can brand your company within this profile. So looking at the profile, what's an important thing to do? A first step is you want to notify your network. So, or not notify your network. So you ever get a notification email? John has just updated his profile. Maybe John's in transition. Another hour later, John has just updated his profile. It's because John has the notify your network setting to yes. Switch it to no, because you will be changing your profile after today's session, and you'll do it today, you'll do it in a couple of days, and you're going to do it over a period of time. So what I encourage you to do is slip it over to no, and then we're going to come in and we're going to talk about the whole profile. So I'm going to exit out of these skills here, and I'm going to come down. We're going to start talking about your profile. So first important section is here within the headline box. So if you see picture is deeply, deeply important. Now, depends what you do, your role, your company, and if you want to have more of a casual picture, if you want to have more of a professional picture. So it's completely up to you, but what I would tell you is have a good picture, not a selfie. You don't have to be in a suit, but have a good, nice picture. I encourage leaving out the animals, the pets, the babies. This is not Facebook, this is a professional site for networking. You can see how my name looks in all caps as well. And then right underneath caps, all caps, is your headline. It's how you brand yourself. So you can have it as title, but you can also have it as who you are, what you do. That's really very, very important. So I encourage you to think about how you want to brand yourself. You know, if you're an expert in building bridges or something else in your industry, how do you want to convey that message under your name in that headline? So I want you to give that real deep thought about how you brand yourself. If you're a speaker, you speak in the industry, put that down. So a really important thing to do. And then also underneath that is location, and also is it construction that you're in, engineering, architecture, etc. So I'd like you all to stick around. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to be right back. Thank you.
This land is your land. A land of innovators, hard workers, makers, visionaries, craftsmen, and doers. A land for those who build, those who believe in a better country. A country born in freedom, forged by blood and by sweat. A land built by the people, for the people. Together, building better.
Welcome back to Built Worlds and Larry Kaufman talking about LinkedIn for the construction, contractor, engineering, architecture industries. Left off on the profile and editing the profile. So we're going to talk a little bit more on the profile, which is really important to brand yourself and have people find you, because everything here is searchable on LinkedIn to find you. Like I said, almost like a Google search. So we were talking about the headline, and then what we're going to go to here is the contact info. What is this? This is a section only for the people you're directly connected to, your first degree connections. So put in an email address, phone number. You can put in your IM contact information, Twitter if you're on Twitter, maybe a website, you're part of a charity. Put that on there as well. The other thing that I would talk about here are additional sections. Some people do not have a summary listed. That's where you put your summary. So you'll see that in the various tabs, because I have mostly everything on mine. I don't have as much for the additional sections to add. Language, look, we're doing this throughout the globe here, so you speak more than one language, that may have bearing on whether you're going to win a project. Also, if you volunteer, it's good to see things in common with people make decisions to hire or contract your firm for a project. Honors and awards, if you have some things that you've won in the construction contractor industry. Test scores, I don't like to put down an F. That's not going to help me advance my cause. Courses, maybe you've taken some very specialized courses that apply to some of the companies, industries you're going to be dealing with. Patents maybe you may hold in your industry. I mentioned posts before. Those are articles you write like a blog, and so that will also pull over. Let's talk about summary. So a couple things here. If you look off to the upper right of this box, this is where you could drag and rearrange the order of your profile. So you don't like the way things are laid out, move the summary somewhere else. Move other things up and back and forth and down. It's up to you. Also, maybe you have a PowerPoint, a presentation, a PDF, a brochure about your company, what you've done, or like I said, some of those projects completed that you want to promote. You could put that here as well. Now, when you look at summary, look at some of the things that I've done. Now, I have used some special symbols. If you like symbols you see in anyone's profile, come into that profile, and what you want to do is hover over that symbol and then right-click and copy and then paste it into your profile. Also think about the repetition. So I speak on LinkedIn a bit. So throughout this, I do say LinkedIn speaker, LinkedIn trainer. I talk about my firm here. I talk about sales leadership, other things about me that define me. And so this is a great way to promote who you are at your company, the role you hold, but credibility. So I will tell you, you're going out for a project and you've really identified your credibility in the industry. Maybe you have, you're a lead expert. You have expertise in doing these types of large-scale projects. You've designed these types of buildings. Throw that all in there. You don't have to name clients, but you could talk about what you've done, what you've completed to provide credibility. Now you see keywords. I'm about repetition, so the more you repeat, how do people find you for what you do as an architect? So how many times you say the word architect within your profile? People will search for that expertise. So I put keywords. You could do specialties, you could say anything you want. I'm just trying to convey repetition. Now as we scroll down further, so these are some of the things that I put into my profile. Sometimes I'm putting in things that are just of human interest, maybe not related to the industry. Now a lot of people ask me about skills and endorsements. So think back to towards the beginning of LinkedIn. LinkedIn would give you the opportunity to say you're an expert in engineering. And maybe you're good, but maybe you're not an expert. You're 6 months in. But LinkedIn let you rate yourself. And so now LinkedIn said, we're going to let other people endorse you and say that, yes, you're an expert in engineering. This is really, to me, this section is about the skills. Can you put the skills in here that would be searchable for others looking for your skills for an upcoming project? So think about the skills that you put in here, and you know what? You don't even have to be endorsed. You could say no. So it's entirely up to you. And maybe you've changed industries, and so if you want, you could rearrange the skills that you've already listed within this section. Now, I'm going to move on as well here to publications. There's trade publications in construction, engineering, architecture. Have you been written up? Have you been recognized? Have you co-written an article? Have you been quoted? Put that here in publications. I put in organizations because I feel it's good for other people to relate to me, that I'm not one-dimensional. There's more to me than just working for Arthur J. Gallagher. So put down some of the organizations you're involved with or things that you volunteer for, causes. People like to see things that they could relate to that you mutually do. Projects. So these were, for me, consulting projects, but you could put some of your projects. Now, you don't have to put down, if it's confidential, you could do more of that. It's almost like a case study project that you want to put down here. So you can put in projects as well. And the additional info, sometimes I put stuff in here because I just want to see, are people reading, beyond the beginning and reading into my profile and asking me about the things that I do. And birthday is kind of nice because you can wish someone a happy birthday. Marital status, up to you. You don't have to put that in there. But how do people get a hold of you? Can they reach you? Are you accessible? If you're easy to get to, if your website's here or your phone number, can they reach you for that project opportunity? And then this is experience. So go back within your companies and think about, do you have a message that there's continuity in how you describe what you do as a company? Look at everyone's profile in the company. If you have a smaller firm, it's easier to do. Does everyone say the same thing about, Graycore or Pepper or another construction company, or is it different messages? Do you want to have that same message that everyone has to have within their profile under their job or in the summary maybe? So just something to think about. And again, you can rearrange the order of your profile because this is a section that allows you to do it. And then also, if you look over here, as I hover over next to my title, I could add something like a web link, which I did. This here is a link to Arthur J. Gallagher's homepage. So maybe you don't have fancy brochures, but you have a website. Everyone could have a link to the homepage of the website in their profile. So this is just where you list all your roles, and then also you could have recommendations. People could recommend you that, Tom Jones and his company did a great job on our recent project. So if you want to put that in there, you have that opportunity. So here's what I want to talk about briefly. I mentioned sliding this notification to your network to no. You're going to change your profile after today, what you've heard. What I recommend that you do is make all your changes, all of them. So you're in no. Now you make all your changes, save one last change, flip it to yes, then make that last change. You probably get calls from people in transition. They say, can you help me out? Yes, I can. Go to your profile, edit profile mode, slide your notification to your network to no. Make all your changes to your profile. When it looks great, save one last change. Flip everything to yes, flip it over to yes, and save that last change. Now make the last change. Your network gets notified about your profile. There's been an update. They just see the last update you made, even though now the profile looks great. So that's the profile, edit profile mode. I'm going to move on. Again, save your questions for the chat. Let's go to My Network. Let's go to Connections. So a lot of people will ask me, you know what, there's someone in my network. I probably shouldn't have invited them into my network. I'm thinking I want to take them out, but they're about 6 inches taller and 200 pounds heavier, and I'm afraid if I remove them, they're going to get notified. They won't. So find the person you want to remove, just hover over, and it says remove, you click remove, they're not notified, and they're out of your network. You can also go to someone's profile and click block, and then they could search for you on LinkedIn, they can't find you. So there's a couple different ways to kind of eliminate people from your network, but they're not notified either way. In this section, this also highlights the things happening with your network where you can congratulate them and recognize their birthday, etc. The other thing I recommend that you may want to do, this is a marketing technique, so if you click on this little icon, so we are in My Network, Connections, click on this icon, and you could export your contacts. And this can go into a CSV file, Excel spreadsheet. Why would you do this? Well, maybe a lot of you want to market to your networks, and your marketing department may ask some of the key players in the company to do this, and then they can slice and dice the network of contacts and email addresses and titles and do an opt-out email campaign. So something you may want to really consider. People ask about people you may know. So what's people you may know? People you may know is really kind of algorithms looking at your network you built, who you're connected to, where you went to school, and they assume these are some people you may know. Remember I said, maybe just have yourself in here. Babies, it's up to you, okay? But I would encourage you to take a look at this because you may find some people that you do want to know or you did know, and they're assuming through these algorithms you may know these people. Again, don't click connect, it's a default message. Click on their profile and then send a custom invitation to those individuals. Alumni. So this is kind of nice. So you look at alumni. So what do you do here? Well, if you put in your college, could have been a high school, but definitely college provides a lot of detail. If you put in your years of graduation, you could find alumni. Now, they're giving me alumni from 1900 to 2016. I did not go to school during those years. However, I would tell you, look through the alumni because maybe there's some people you want to connect to. Now, I just like it because I could look at notables. So I went to Loyola in Chicago. Maybe there's some notable people that I do want to connect with, and maybe they're related to construction. Maybe these are people at a major corporation, could be decision makers. If you went to a pretty common school, maybe harder to make that link. We went to, Northern Illinois University, but if you both went to Harvard or there's that special bond, that's a great thing to use. So I would encourage you, maybe put your years of graduation and you could search alumni and connect. So I do want to talk about companies as well, and I do want to bring this up, looking at company pages. Most of you should have a company page created. If you don't, you can come in and you can create a company page. So you can do that here. But you should all have a company page. This is a new premium feature. So you can see how they're growing. And you could see even with Abbott, there's not a ton of information, but you can see they're hiring a lot, so you can see the growth of a business. Now, if we come back and we look at the homepage of Abbott, this is how I look at a company where if you think about you're trying to target a company for projects, how would I crack into Abbott? Or you have a friend that wants to be a pharmaceutical rep, how would I get into Abbott? First degree is a no-brainer. So everyone wants to go after first degree. You may not have any first degree connections. Second degree is the magic. So we click on second degree. Here's what's interesting, and this is LinkedIn and some of the engineering of LinkedIn. Nothing's perfect. Remember, there's just over 700 second degree, but there's 2283 as the results here. That's fine. I'm glad with a bigger number. What does this mean? I have 2283 connections, but I want to do an advanced search. So I'm actually in advanced search. So we come back over, I'm doing advanced search. We're pulled over Abbott. So I'm going to search through the 2283. Now, I'm going to click second again, and I'm going to do a title that I think would be important or a keyword. So if we did facilities, I'm just going to type the word facilities and see what comes up. So I've got 9 results. Now, it's not a lot of results, but if you think about it, I'm not in your industry. If you're in the right industry and you're connected to people in facilities, real estate, property management, construction, if you're connected to the right people, you're going to get better results. So would any of these people be good people? This was a past division vice president of global facilities engineering. This person is, if you look over here, past, current project engineer, facilities planner at Abbott Diagnostics. Would that be good? Maybe. There's a second degree to me, and if I click here, there's 2 people that I know would be the pathway to Judith. So if you did the same search, what would you come up with versus what I came up with? And by the way, off to the left, you can keep changing this around. I could say I just want current. Now let's say scrap facilities, I got to help a client's child get into Abbott. And they asked me if I can get into Abbott. It's not a client of my construction company, but maybe I can get in to some of the hiring people. Maybe I can get into Nicole, that's director of HR. I can get into Steve. These are all second degree connections. I've got 18 shared connections. Remember, second degree, one or more of my 30,000 know those people. So think about the power of second degree. So I'm going to come back. We've done companies. So remember, so interest, you go to companies. I'm going to do some more searches, just a couple things I want to show you. Groups. A lot of us join groups, but we don't use them. So let's talk about using groups. So if we come over here, we click groups. Now we can type in anything. So let's say we just wanted to type in lead. So would there be a group here you want to join? You could view the group. You could see if this is a group that makes sense for you to join. I want to type in engineering. What comes up in a group for engineering? So you can look and see, is there anything, like here's a mechanical engineering forum, 177,000 members. Would that be powerful? You know, maybe get a glimpse of what it looks like if this looks like a group you want to join, or see what your connections of yours are in that particular group. Let's look at within a group, what a group looks like. So if we look at group, I'm just going to pick, let me find one that's got a lot of members. Okay, here's biotech and pharma. May not be the group you'd want to join, but let's look. I've got 91,000 members. What's the power of a group? If you're in the right trade or professional industry group, you can look and see what's happening with conversations. So maybe there's a conversation going on that relates to what you're doing. You can get involved in the discussion and look like an expert on that particular project or something someone's trying to accomplish with maybe a new build out. So I would encourage you to look at groups, join groups, participate. It's kind of a nice area to work within. Now, I'm not going to go through this, but I encourage you to look at ProFinder. It's something new. So ProFinder, LinkedIn is trying to help people in different types of industries, in different types of roles, procure business. So it's a place for commerce. So if you build a profile on ProFinder, that you could say maybe you're in construction or you build homes, could be commercial, residential, and people are searching for a new home builder. You can have your ProFinder profile up, and it's a bidding process, about 24 hours, and they'll reach out to 3 or 4 like types of contractors, and you'll get the opportunity to bid and respond. I'm not saying it's incredible, but it's another way to get your name out there in your company. Take a look and see if it's for you. What I'm willing to spend the last 30 minutes on is actually searching. The power of LinkedIn is about research. So advanced is where I spend most of my time. And a lot of people ask me, how much time do you spend on LinkedIn a day? Anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes. So it's research. So let's talk about the research, some best practices, what's good to do. So I would tell you a good thing to do is to actually prep for a meeting. You're going to be bidding and you're getting to present. Who's the audience? Did you get advance notice and a calendar invite you could see who's going to be there? Look those folks up. Maybe you can get some advance notice saying you've got second degree connections coming to a meeting that you're going to have. See who you share in common. Are those people you can call up and get some insight into people you're meeting with so you can prepare better for that meeting? So I encourage you, look at the profiles of people you're meeting with. You're going to have a phone call, conversation with, anything around that meeting. Be prepared. A good best practice is connect with people at your company. Are you connected to all the engineers, all the project managers, leadership, administrative staff, back office? You never know who knows who, but a lot of people may be sitting on great connections. Your CFO may have wonderful connections, your COO, but you didn't connect. Connect, don't make assumptions, connect with each other. Very, very important. And I'd like to play a game called Go Fish. Maybe you're trying to break into a very big company, or even the Pentagon. Pentagon's on LinkedIn. Maybe a few of you gather in a room with your laptops and you plug in a company to do a search. And I showed you the one way, I'm going to show you the other way. So you want to do a search, plug in that company, and you could do a search together and see who has the best or warmest pathway into a company. So as I mentioned, I spend most of my time, if I go back to home, I come to Advanced and I do searches. So I'm going to show you some searches to do, and I'm also going to show you how to search my network, other people's networks, individually, and share that information with other folks if you're going to network together. So I come here and I do a second-degree search. So let's talk about this search. I'm going to search by title. And so I'm going to do a search by Director of Real Estate. And if I do a search and I say that's a current role, now you can come over here, you could do location. I'm going to do anywhere. And I'm just going to start out my search, but you could start to filter that search further and break it down. So I'm doing a search, I got 2685 as my results for Director of Real Estate. If you want to keep that string together, see how this may change. So I put Director of Real Estate and I put it in quotes. And then I hit enter again. So the 2685 becomes 685. What am I doing with that? Well, I could refine it further, because I could say I want to do that by industry. I want to do a search for anyone that went to Harvard that's a Director of Real Estate, maybe University of Illinois. It doesn't matter. It could be Oxford University. You could put in any university. You can customize it as much as you want. You can customize the search and say I want to meet with anyone that's a Director of Real Estate that likes to golf. And so that's 50 people, Director of Real Estate. So these are all second-degree connections with one or more connections that I know in my first degree that are the pathway. So if I wanted to meet with any of these folks, Managing Director of Real Estate Services at Deloitte, the big accounting firm, there's 11 people that are a pathway for me to get to Stephen at Deloitte. Very, very powerful. So remember, you could do any title here. Now, if I really like that search and I've got my people in golf and real estate, free membership, you could save that search for free. And you can call this your real estate golf list. And you could save it, and then you'll get an update. However you want to set that weekly, you'll get an alert about a new Director of Real Estate in the geographic constraint set that likes to play golf. So very powerful, as you can see, on doing these particular searches. So I'm going to clear back out. I'm going to come to home. And the next search I'm going to show you is actually how to search an individual's network. And Jed doesn't know that I'm going to be doing this for Jed, but we're going to look at Jed's profile and we're going to search his network. And so you go to the person you want to search their network. So one of the great things to do post-session is look up a great referral source or a client that you've done a lot of great work for, great projects, they love you. Why don't you look at their network and ask for proactive introductions? So I'm looking at Jed, or if this is a one-to-one networking meeting, I'm going to come to Jed's profile and I click on the 500 plus, and I'm going to search his network. So clicking on that 500 plus takes me to his connections box, and now I can begin to search Jed's network very quickly, very easily, and filter through his network. So what I'm going to do, when I look in this box, the key things to look for are all, shared. Do you see them both? If you see all and shared together for a first level contact, it means they've opened up their network. If you only see shared, that first level contact, they close their network. So you can't do this search. You may have to ask them to open it up tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. So the next thing you do is click on the magnifying glass. And this is where we can do a custom search. So we're going to take another break. We're going to be right back. Stick around. Thank you.
The Procore Construction Health Indicator is how we take a daily pulse of the construction industry. Powered by Graphic and their super smart data scientists, we pull together tons of economic data from every corner of the web and turn that data into a single number. We start with 3 major indicators of construction industry health: labor, commodities, and investments. We run these typically disconnected numbers through a mathematical filter and end up with national and regional health scores ranging from 60 to 100. Information and statistics are great, but at the end of the day, it's not the numbers that are important, but what those numbers mean to you. And that's what the health indicator offers. Meaningful data, served up how you need it, when you need it. You keep building, we'll keep crunching the numbers, and we'll meet you back here daily as scores refresh.
We live in an age of smart. An age of smartphones, smart appliances, and smart homes. An age where connected devices are improving lives and revolutionizing work. From job sites to generators to machines of all sizes, this is the age where iron flexes its intelligence. Where the machinery that enriches lives, powers businesses, and builds communities is given the connectivity to be even safer, more efficient, and more productive. This is the age where our industry evolves. The age where job sites become their own networks, where entire fleets speak the same language, and where work gets done faster with fewer setbacks. This is the new era of smart, and CAT is built for it. Welcome to the age of smart iron.
Welcome back to Built Worlds and Larry Kaufman talking about LinkedIn. I'm doing the final 30 minutes of my program today. Thanks for joining today. Where we left off was about searching someone's individual network for better networking one-to-one or just sitting at home on your computer. I also did get a few questions. I thought I'd address some of these right now if I can. So someone had asked, is it better to post through personal account versus company LinkedIn account? I think either one works out. Honestly, you should just have one account anyway. And so I like posting. I work for Gallagher. I work with Gallagher. I'm an employee of the company. I'm posting on a routine basis right on that homepage through the updates, and I'm sharing and liking things. And I'm also here and there writing some articles or blogs. Also, someone wanted to know, what's the best way to find emails on LinkedIn? So LinkedIn, if you go here to your messages, I think that's one question, and then we'll talk about, I think maybe the also question may be about email addresses. So I'm going to address both anyway. So you actually used to be able to search when someone would send you an email, you could actually search on who sent that email. LinkedIn lets you do some light level searching, but a lot of the historic information is gone. But when you start looking at people in your network and you look at their profile, you can actually find some information if you've had some communication with that individual. So that will happen at times. I'm going to go back and let me pull up, I want to pull up Jed, see if Jed and I have had some communications that aren't too personal. It's not coming up. So what I will tell you is LinkedIn's pretty interesting. LinkedIn sometimes has some challenges from an engineering point of view. So normally when I pull up a first degree, I would see a contact tab and I would see relationship and information. And so I'm not seeing that right now, but you would actually here find contact. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times. We'll try it one more time, see if it comes back up. There it is. And see, it went away. So I can't explain it. LinkedIn is technology. Maybe now with Microsoft we'll fix those glitches, but you would click on contact and you'd have Jed's email address. Sometimes I ask for an introduction to somebody. They're like, you know what, I'll have to send it through LinkedIn. I don't have their email address. You actually do. You go into their profile, and when it works, you can click on contact. So that was another question that had surfaced. And then someone also asked about good groups to join, which I'd went through that are specific maybe in Chicago. So we can try to do a search again. And so we'll go in here and we'll do groups. And we'll type in construction again. So a lot of times what you could do, LinkedIn used to have it to where you could do a more advanced search of groups and find those in Chicago. I'm not seeing that capability here because this is not pulling over the group search. So LinkedIn changes their programming and capability. So what I would tell you here is, you could try typing in construction Chicago and see if something comes up specific to a group in Chicago. So you can see Design and Construction Network Chicago. That's probably the best way. So I think I've addressed most of those questions. Let's go back, and I was doing a particular search on Jed Levenstein's network. So good call out to Built Worlds and Jed Levenstein. And so we're going to come to Jed. And this is when you want to do a one-to-one networking, or you're just, tonight, you're going, I got a great client, I want to look at their network and ask for some introductions. So you come here, click on 500 plus. Remember I said all? If you see all, you can search Jed's network. I put in the magnifying glass. So I type in CEO. Now I get 183 results. Now I can go page by page, or I can click advanced search. Now in this instance, what I really want to do is I want to look at second connections. Why second connections? First, we know. Those are our connections that we both know. Second are the people that Jed knows that I want to know. So I click on second. That took me down to 105. Now, I may say, you know what? I want just people in construction. So I start typing in the industry. We'll do that one more time. There we go. And I click underneath. Now I'm doing construction. One result. Now, is that great? I can modify if I need to, but that's what I did in his network. Now think about if you're dealing with someone in pharma that's a client, their network would be a lot of pharma, right? You're dealing with someone in a particular industry, transportation, they'd have a lot of transportation-related contacts. So if I want to get rid of that, I can come up here and X that out, so I'm at 105. So now these are people that I could look at and see, are these a good fit? You pay for a membership. Everything here with this in sign, everything here is a paid membership feature. Some membership levels, the more you spend, the more you get. I have a paid membership where I could look at company size. So maybe I just want to look at, the 2 companies in Jed's network that are 5,000 plus employees. So that's a benefit of a paid membership. Another paid membership benefit would be an in-mail. Sometimes we do it to make cold calls, and so you can actually send an email or an in-mail to anybody within LinkedIn. So let's say you're in a particular area of construction and you want to acquire a company like that. You're in the US, you want to find one in the UK or another part of the country. Well, a great thing that you could do is you could search for that particular company here. So I could search in Jed's network, but there's a lot of things that you could do within LinkedIn that will help all facets of your company. The key here was I wanted to show you that you could search someone's network and you could start to filter it down and filter it down and pick out people you want to talk to and meet with that will help you with your relationship. So with Jed, if I wanted to know people, if I said, I wonder if Jed knows anyone, maybe he knows someone at Abbott Laboratories. I can just type in the word Abbott and see what comes up. Now, somewhere in these profiles are people that may have worked at Abbott or work at Abbott. And again, I could do an advanced search, or I just click on each one of those profiles. So that's another particular search that you could do. So let's come back, and we're going to do just a few advanced searches so I can show you, again, that functionality of LinkedIn. Now, if you look through interest and you go to companies, you try to do a company search, you're not finding it. You could put the company here, do an advanced search of company. Now, I'm just going to do some more searches with titles that I believe that you like and work with. I think some of you may like property manager as a title. Now remember, you could put that in quotes or not quotes. What I like doing is starting out broad and then starting to narrow it. So keeping the string together puts it in quotes. I'm going to keep it separate, but I want current property managers. I want second degree. I want anywhere. No, maybe I just want local. I'll keep it anywhere and I'll keep filtering down based upon what does my result look like. So now this first search, I'm looking for property manager. Now you see sometimes it's together, sometimes it may be separate. So you can see by the way it's bolded in the search. So for me this is good enough to start. But I've got so much to filter through, 4955. So what else do I want to take it down to? Maybe I want school. So I'm going to pick a school. How about Oxford? So I've got Oxford. Now I'm going to click search, see if anyone went to Oxford. 11 people. So now it could be Oxford, Ohio. So here's what I want to do is maybe put the college or university in quotes. That may change my 11 to 1. So you see how keeping things in quotes changes the result of what you're doing. Now, if I remove the university, I can say, okay, I wonder how many people are here. I'm in the Chicagoland area, so you can pick your area code anywhere in the world. So put your area code and do your radius. I'm doing 50-mile radius. I brought that number down to 736. Now, what else can I do with that number? Well, I want to find people that like to run marathons. So I think maybe someone runs marathons. Nope. So folks, property managers do not like to run. Okay, so how about I pick something else? So we did this one before, golf. How many property managers like golf? Okay, so now, why am I doing this? Can I find things in common with some of these property managers that like to golf, that are in a radius nearby to me, that are maybe in an industry that I like? So there's a lot of things you could do. So if I get rid of golf, maybe now instead of golf, so I'm going to put it back to my original result. So 736, but now I say, you know what, I want to go for a particular industry. So let me pick an industry. So maybe I choose transportation. Let's see if we've got a transportation, trucking, and railroad. May or may not be something of interest, but we're putting that down there. No property managers in that world, right? So, but if I chose real estate, so if I uncheck that one, but I chose real estate, I'd probably have a real, similar hit. You could see the number. So I've got 439 results for real estate property manager title. Now, I like CEOs. So CEOs in any company. I'm a big believer. CEO is a good title to start with because maybe you can meet a CEO who gets you to director of real estate, director of construction, whatever particular title you want in that organization anywhere in the world. Why not start with CEO? So we could do a CEO search. And again, this is going to be second degree, say I'm second connections. And I'm doing local to my Chicago area. So I've got 406 results in Chicago CEOs. Now again, when I start filtering through and I pick particular industries and I change it up, everything changes. I'm using real estate. I'm going to uncheck real estate. 10,000 results. What am I going to do with 10,000 CEOs? I don't want 10,000 CEOs. Maybe I just want to see, because I'm a paid member, so this is again reason why you'd pay, I can look here and go, well, you know what, if I look, I just want 10,000 plus employee companies, 452. Now it's CEOs. Well, I just, again, you guys love to golf, I'm going golf. So 452 CEOs, 20 that have golf somewhere in their profile that are local here, 10,000 plus employees. That's powerful. So I can find my way into a lot of different companies, but then you got to look and make sure, are they really CEOs in these big companies? So look, I don't know if anyone's heard of Stericycle, massive company. I would say that could be a great company for anyone that's on the live stream today. So the president and CEO at Stericycle is on here. I have 10 pathways to this individual. So basically I'm doing a message request to one of these contacts. So let's say it's Elizabeth. So I reached out to Liz. Liz, I know you used to work at Stericycle. I want to get an introduction to Charles. I'm assuming you still know Charles because you worked at the same company. Here's my introduction that I've created. So maybe in that introduction I mentioned something about golf. Ideally, look at their profiles. There's something within their profile that you can custom tailor that would be a little better, get a better response that you've really thought about, that he's in a particular charity for autism and you have an autistic child. And so maybe the person introducing you takes your introduction where you've referenced that along with some other things that I've shown you in my introduction that I've tailored, and that gives you a better odds of getting connected and Charles wanting to meet with you. So what I would tell you, about LinkedIn is you have to think about LinkedIn as a great research tool that you could do all types of searches within LinkedIn. So that is really LinkedIn. So you can use the company search to get to people and advanced search. And I live and breathe by doing advanced searches, second degree searches, so you can find anybody, anywhere in the world. And when you get paid membership, this is where you've got your filters for the paid membership. So that is all I have for LinkedIn today. And if you have any questions, I've given you my information. I'll repeat it, Kaufman_34@hotmail.com. My business email is Larry_Kaufman@ajg.com. Be glad to help you and share some materials on today's presentation. And I hope that you learned a lot, that you can use these techniques and ideas to better brand yourself, your business. And I encourage you to follow Built Worlds. Go to builtworlds.com as well. Look up Built Worlds company page and Hard Hat Hub to really help you with the growth and hiring for your company today and for tomorrow. Thank you very much and have a really good day.